Happy holidays, everyone. Janie here. So while many of us don't gather and sing Christmas carols door to door anymore, we can all gather and spread Christmas joy with a holiday hop. This hop is sponsored by Tailor-Made Cards for You, and the kit we are working with is called The Most Wonderful Time of the Year. And as you can see, it comes with a beautiful variety of papers and images, and there'll be a link below in the description box to this, as well as a link to the next person in the lineup. There's many ways to use a digital kit like this, and I'm going to show you a few. One way is uploading the images to Cricut Design Space, and then using the print and cut feature. I love how my Cricut Explorer just cuts everything out for me so beautifully. But if you don't have a Cricut, there are other options you can use. Most computers come with Microsoft Publisher already installed, and you can use that to size and print the images and papers. Or you can go a step further like I did and use something like Photoshop to cut the images individually, and that way you can size and space each image in Publisher. And of course you can print right from Publisher. Of course, the simplest way is to just use your printer's printing features by clicking on Print and making the choices of how you want it printed. Okay, here's what I printed out, and actually I printed 2 sheets of the pattern papers. And I had cropped each of these images so that I could space them out enough to die cut around them, but it looks like I would have had plenty of room had I printed them out just the way they were. And here they are after I cut those beautiful images with a stitched oval die. Okay, let's get to the tutorials. I'm going to be showing you 2 different versions of this card and 2 different ways to use them. To make 4 of these cards, you'll need an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock cut into fourths, and they will each be 4 1/4 by 5.5, which is your typical A2 size card. And a second piece of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock cut into fourths like you see here, which will give you 4 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 8.5 inches. Now, if you only want to make 2 cards, this is how you would cut 1 piece of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so this is the card for the first tutorial, and I want to point out that this card is easy enough for brand new beginners and still fun enough for advanced card makers. So this has a front flip on it, and so you can put, the sentiment in here like I did. And you can use this card just the way it is, or you can use it as a card topper like I did on this card. So 2 ways to use it. Now let me show you how easy it is to make. So we have our base piece that is 4 1/4 by 5.5, and we have the next layer, which I cut 1/4 inch smaller, so it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now, what I'm going to do right now is optional, but I want to ink the edges of this, so I'm going to just do that really quickly here. Sometimes I do that to hide the edges because I don't want the white edges to show, and sometimes I do it to add a little depth and kind of a little vintage look to it. So that was quick and easy, and now I'm just going to use my Beacon 3-in-1 to glue that layer on. So now I'm going to set this aside. Okay, now we have that piece that was 2 3/4 by 8.5. And we don't even need a scoreboard because we are just going to take this and fold it in half. Now, if you have a scoreboard and you want to score it, that is probably a good idea. But what about those of you that don't have a scoreboard? Well, this is what I meant about easy enough for beginners. We've got that folded in half. And the next thing I've got is another piece of that beautiful paper that comes in this kit. I just love it. Isn't it just adorable? Okay, anyways, I've got this cut down to fit right on the top. So since this was 2 3/4 and it was 4 1/4, then this layer is 2.5 by 4. And again, I'm just going to ink these edges up really quick just to keep everything, you know, looking the same. So once I do that, I am going to glue this on the front right here, like so. And again, I'll speed this up for you. Okay, and make sure the pattern is going the right direction since this is going to open like that. Okay, now I'm bringing in that base piece, and what we're going to do is I'm going to put glue right here on the back, and there isn't a specific place. You can put it there, you can put it right smack in the middle, you can put it way over to one edge. It is totally up to you. And so again, making sure everything is going the right direction, I am just going to put some glue on here. And it's going to go all the way to the top. So we'll just get it like that. Make sure that it's top and bottom are even, okay? Because the card is 4 1/4 inches, and so is that additional card, I guess you would call it, that we're adding to the front of it. Okay, so there we go. And that's how it opens. What I have done, hold on a second here. I happen to have a stitched rectangle die. See if you could see that. That happens to be the exact size for going on this card, or actually in this case in the card. And so these will just go right on the inside like so. And so you don't have to watch me fast forward gluing. I'm going to go glue those on and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. And I just happened to have a stamp set that had a 2-part sentiment, so that's what I did. You don't have to do that. You could put an image up here that would look really cute and your sentiment down here. So many possibilities. But there we have that. And now we're going to decorate it. So let me grab the pieces. Okay, so here is one of my oval die cuts. And these images are just so fun. I love them. Just shopping, shopping, shopping. Okay, and I'm going to put that right on the front. But first, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this a little bit. And while I'm at it, I am also going to ink the edges of this piece because this will be one of the embellishments that I use. And this came with this kit, and I just, you know, sized it really small. You can make them really big, you can make them really small. That's a wonderful thing about using digital images. Okay, so we've got that on there, and oops, reach across here. I am going to be putting some double-sided foam tape on the back of this. There you go. And this image doesn't take up as much room as my other image. So, I mean, if you wanted to add a little bling or, you know, stamp some sort of sentiment or something on there, you can definitely do that. Okay, now let's grab this and put a little bit of glue on the back of this. I should just stick my glue in this glue holder I have that keeps it upside down, so that my glue would be all the way at the end where it should be, but I forgot to bring it in here with me. So it's actually in my other room. But let me get this on here. Let's see. I think I'll put it on about right there. And then I am going to be adding some presents, and these cute little presents are actually cut from a die set from In Love Arts, and it is called Christmas Sparkle, and I'll put a link below. But it doesn't just come with the presents, it comes with, whoops, let me grab it here. It comes with a Christmas tree, star, candle, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just trying to decide which of these two, because I am only using two. I know I want to use that one. I'm trying to keep with her color scheme here. So, you know, I think I'll use that one, And then do I want to go with that? Or do I want to go with that? Decisions, decisions. You know, I think I'm going to go with that one. Nope. You guys realize I'm very indecisive, right? It is one of my big problems. But I think I'm going to go with that one. Okay, what do you think? It was that easy. It is so easy and so cute, and this is a great little card all by itself. Or you could do what I did and just use it as a card topper. But now let's move on to the next variation of this card. Okay, this card looks pretty much the same, right? But it's not. It still opens. You can still use it for a card topper or just the way that it is, but there's a couple differences. One is that it has an additional layer behind it, and the other one is this part right here attaches from behind so that you don't see the green layer going around, whereas the first one we did, we just glued this to the front of the card. So you can see that. So this one was the easiest one. This one is a little more complicated. Okay, so just like with the first card, we have our card base and we have this piece right here that we are going to fold in half or score in half. And let me grab my bone folder over here. There we go. Okay, so that part is the same. And I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and I'm going to bring in my layer of glitter cardstock. I'm going to put it on here so that you can see it better, because I'm going to show you that, first of all, this piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I used my die, the same die that I used on the other card to cut out the pieces for the sentiment. I used that to cut out the center of this because, as always, no one's going to see it. It's going to be covered up, but we're going to be using this. So I'm not throwing this away. And this is going to go right over the top of that. But before it does, this is where the change comes in. So let me set this all aside for a second. Okay, and I'm not inking the edges on this because it is going to be white edges, but it's going up against something white. So I'm not inking the edges this time, but I am going to take this flap, and instead of it going on the front, we are going to be gluing this like that. So you have to decide, again, you know, where you want this, there, in the middle, off to that side. Totally up to you. And we're going to put glue on this back part only. So just make sure that everything is in place. Push it down. Your front, can't talk straight, your front flap will still be there. And we are going to cut off this piece right here so it's not going to show. So let me cut that off. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. And yep, that flap hangs down longer. Don't even worry about it. But this is what it looks like right now. And now I'm going to go glue these on the inside just like I did the other one. Okay, because this is a smaller piece, this is actually going to go all the way up to the top and all the way to the bottom, and make sure that you have it where you can still fold this over, okay? And just kind of line it up with the sides of that one. Okay, so there we go. That works. And actually, I should have waited to put these on, but it's too late now because we are going to be trimming off part of this. But I made sure that I left plenty of room up there, so we're going to be good. So we're going to set this aside, and we're going to get back to the base. So we're going to be putting that on. Now this one's going to go on. This paper right here can go all the way across. You don't have to put this on here. You could put your sentiment up here, and then, you know, you could put images there. You could have put the Christmas tree there instead of this white piece, you know, or whatever you want. So this is just allowing for the pattern paper to go all the way across in case you wanted it, you know, to go that way. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this over. And you can hardly see it, but it's right there. And I am going to just trim that piece off. Okay, there we go. And that piece of glitter cardstock that we had cut out of the center is going to fit perfectly right on top, just like that. And you can always add another layer of patterned paper on top of this, but I'm not going to. I thought, you know, I really like the glitter paper a lot, and so we've got that on there like so. And by the way, you can see when I trimmed that off, whoops, you can see when I trimmed that off that I had left enough space for that. But the smarter thing to do would not be putting this on until after you've trimmed that end off. Okay, so now we've got that on there. Let me just make sure everything is lined up straight. And I'm going to be using one of these cute ones that were cut out by my Cricut. So I love it that Cricut cuts it out so nicely. And I'm just going to put her right here on the front. Now you could use you know, foam adhesive, foam tape, or something to pop her up, but there is actually a technique I like using that let me get a little bit of glue on here, where I'm not putting glue on everything. Let me bring it up here so you can see it. I just put glue right down the center and on her legs, because her legs were kind of thin and I didn't want them, you know, hanging out there to get snagged on something. So by doing this, you can see that her hat sticks up a little bit, her packages still stick up, her purse still sticks up. So it actually looks dimensional a little bit, but not completely. And I actually like that look. So there we go. See if I can get in closer so you can see, you know, that everything is not laying down completely flat with her. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do is basically the same decorations that I did on the other card. So I'm still going to be using that and a couple of the presents, and I'll go ahead and do that off camera since you've already seen it done once. And there it is. I decorated it the same way I did the other one, but I'm sure that you have a lot of wonderful ideas on how to decorate these. And if you wanted to use this just as it is for a card, but let's say you had a bigger sentiment than what's on the inside, you can put a piece of white cardstock on the back, stamp your sentiment, sign your name, and wonderful card. Or you can do what I did with this one and use it as a card topper. But either way, this is such a fun and easy fold that, like I said, is perfect for brand new beginners and advanced card makers. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and I'm sorry this was a little long for a hop video, but I hope that it gave you some ideas, and for even more ideas, I hope you spread holiday cheer by hopping to every video in the hop and leaving comments along the way. There's a link at the top of my description box to the next person in the hop, and there's also links to the products that I used today. By the way, not only is this hop sponsored by TaylorMade Cards for You, but Crafters Castle Challenge in December will also be sponsored by TaylorMade Cards for You, and you'll have a chance to win a $10 gift certificate to the digital section in her shop. If you like this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, I hope you do that too, because I really appreciate every one of you. Happy holidays, everyone, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.